sports. It's in the
What is it that you want in a modern Formula One circuit? Circuits of yesteryear have certainly thrown up and attracted infamy for their bland and boring styles. But welcome to Baku, welcome to the Baku City Street Circuit, where the essence of thrills and spills is very much tested and acknowledged. 20 corners of this track fulfill what is one of the best modern circuits in the world. Carnage, absolute chaos and anarchy is something indicative of the stage we are about to visit. So hold on to your seats. ZRL is about to invest in an event of pure drama. I am Ben, your commentator on this Saturday, depending where you live in the world, Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. Thank you so very much for your company. And you are about to see the best drivers in the Xbox racing divisions across anywhere you may glance test themselves against the might that is the Baku City Street Circuit. We are just moments away from a short qualifying session so that the drivers can determine their starting positions for this race. So then we will have a short qualifying session, then 26 laps ahead of us. That is around half the distance that you would normally have at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and at a track where we have raced since 2016. That race was known as the European Grand Prix, the first European Grand Prix since 2012. Let's say it wasn't the greatest of races, but when the events re-emerged as the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, we have been treated to some utterly glorious races. So then, we have just under a full field here, so that means we will definitely be having action. And it probably will be for the better for the drivers to not get into one another's way. We've seen across this track in recent years that sometimes getting out of the way is very, very tough and taxing, and can certainly curtail efforts. Now, we have 16 drivers on the track at the moment. Well, we have 16 drivers in the session at the moment. They're all in the pits still. But we will soon have action upon us. An 18-minute qualifying session. That will give time for the drivers to possibly have 3 runs. They are limited to the tyres that they have, but we've had no practice sessions in this lobby. So the drivers can be relatively flexible with their strategy choice. Expect only really the soft compound tyres in this qualifying session. When it comes to the race, the drivers outside the top 10, they can start the race on the medium compound tyres because, of course, remember, this game, the F1 2021 game, runs in accordance to the 2021 Formula One regulations. Despite being in a new dawn of Formula One, just not quite at those rules yet, but as the new Formula One game comes out soon, we will certainly be adapting to the modern era, the new modern era that Formula One has to present. Now let's have a look at some drivers now out on track. It looks like Drunk X6 leads the pack. Dublin is just a corner behind him, or a couple of corners behind him. Now, of course, with this being a street track, it can be fiendishly difficult to get the tyres up to temperature. And when it comes to the lap, if you don't have the tyres up to temperature, you are going to suffer and suffer and suffer. And the drivers definitely want to be avoiding that challenge. So then, let's probably follow the progress of Drunk X6 and Jimaras. Jimaras in the Williams is coming through the final braking zone of the track. He will put down the throttle, and it is now not necessarily a race, but is a rage to the line. But he did have to lift there, actually, through turn 19, which is going to slow him down a little bit going down this straight. Obviously, the front end really was not hooked up through that corner, but Jimaras in the Williams opens DRS and makes a dash towards the line into turn 1, where we saw a horrid crash in Formula 2 earlier. Jimaras suffers no such problem through the first corner. Now turn 2, where we saw Lance Stroll see the end of his qualifying. The Williams being very smooth and calculated through the first 2 corners, but that is 2 of 20. We still have challenges to be looked at, and Jimaras quite deep into turn 3 there. He managed to get it stopped and avoided the temptation of running into the wall. That was very good brake management there from the Williams, but as he ends the first sector, he's gone quicker than Drunk X6's Ferrari, but he does go very wide there through the second pass of the chicane. But here comes turn 7. You really want to open up the corners, to turn in early and then put the power down earlier on towards the castle section. One of the tightest pieces of tarmac in Formula 1. The margins are just so fine, but the rewards are so sweet. Jimaras not managing to find the wall, and he's nearly completed 2 sectors of his first tour of the Baku City Street Circuit. Drunk X6 has now completed all 20 corners of the Baku City Street Circuit, and he will make a dash for the line. He opens DRS. Doesn't really hug the inside wall, doesn't make the shortest route to the line, but it is a 1:40.3. That is the time to beat. And Dublin now displaces Drunk X6 by over a second, but Jimaras in the Williams, what can he do? He's going to slot himself into 3rd. But behind we have Traverstor completing his lap, and it sees him go 2nd, just displacing Major Disaster's Williams. But Dublin out in front at the moment, and that is a blistering lap time. We have yellow flags out in sector 2 through turn 15, where Kushi has just gone through. Chonk now in the Haas is now going to pin down the throttle and motion towards the line. Weil now slots himself up into 2nd place and 6/100ths behind Dublin. Chonk is up into 7th. We have yellow flags through the first corner. I think that is because KG is trying to let his teammate through. Leo Kreitis is now starting a lap, and let's ride on board with him through the first 2 corners. Oh, and it looks like KG, he wasn't on the apex there, but that can really put a driver off. But Leo Kreitis managing to keep his composure. You have yellow flags out in sector 2, it seems. And that's because Jimaras has ground to a halt. But back on board with Leo Kreitis. It's the quickest first sector we have seen so far, but he understeers through turn 6. And he may have just tapped the wall there. That's going to compromise his run towards turn 7. And what seemed to be a promising start to the lap may just fade away a little bit. Now into the castle section. You can see how close he is getting to the walls. Now is that Chonk who's had a problem there. Yellow flags were out through the castle section. Now Leo Kreitis will want to see Logan behind him as he approaches turn 15. He goes in deep. Somehow avoids the mercy of the walls. But this Alpine is not helping out Leo Kreitis one bit. He has cleared the last braking zone on this track. He's going to get a very healthy slipstream though from the Alpine ahead of him. So what is this lap going to come to for Leocritus? Though Logan has DRS in front, Leocritus will cross the line, and it's sixth. It is sixth for the Red Bull. Probably has been slowed down a little bit by the Alpine in front, but it's still a relatively competitive lap time. But Logan now starts his first lap. Let's see how it fares out into turn 3, where we've seen multiple drivers crash throughout the year. Sergei Sorokin in 2018, Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda in 2021. But such the talent that these ZRL drivers possess, we have had no visit to the barriers so far. You have to be pinpoint on the turn-in. Turn in too early, you will find the wall. Turn in too late, and you'll still find the wall. The walls are waiting. The walls are lurking to punish a driver's mistake. But certainly from the screen you can see this session from, no mistake has been found. Logan then through turn 15, and there is a mistake. Logan is carrying a little bit too much speed into turn 15. It's amazing there that he hasn't got more damage than he has, but he rounds the final few corners and he gets a lot of understeer. He taps the wall once more. Maybe there was damage to that Alpine front wing, and that may just have thrown his lap away. So Logan then is going to cross the line, and it may have been a bit more promising for him, but he is still in the top 10. KG is improving significantly. He is going to be troubling the top front runners with this lap. He's half a second up after the first 2 sectors. And the Haas has opened DRS, makes a race for the line. 6th turns into 3rd for KG. He's 1.5 tenths off pole position, but that not only is a significant improvement, that has put his name in the hat for pole position. The rivalries, the battles are forging already in the Azerbaijan capital, as Connor now slots his Red Bull up into the top 4. And we have the Alfa Romeo of Taker Wise going into turn 15. Now we do have yellow flags in the 2nd sector. Oh, Godole moves. It's going to get in the way of the Alfa Romeo. That is going to exasperate Tay. That is going to compromise his exit as well. And he is not going to be happy about that. Now he's going to get a good slipstream from the car in front. So it's not going to be all horrors for the Alfa Romeo, but his first lap in qualifying is good enough for P12 only. Drunk X6 is now on another lap. He's put on some fresh new boots and fresh new boots and is on another charge. He was one of the first drivers to complete a lap in the first runs in this session. He's going to be one of the first to make a second dash for improvements. He hits the wall though off of the exit of turn 4. Now into this tricky little chicane. You go through each and every corner, and mistakes through the tales of history have been found. Daniil Kvyat crashed here through the exit of turn 7 in 2019. Charles Leclerc crashed here in qualifying in 2019. Lewis Hamilton crashed here in 2016. And the mistakes, the tally of mistakes realised on this stage just mounts and mounts and mounts year after year after year. But it is the testament to these drivers that they have avoided the perilous danger of making a mistake. Drunk X6 is not improving through the first 2 sectors, and it doesn't look like he's going to have a slipstream on towards the finish line. The tow is so incredibly powerful around this track, particularly if you're carrying a bit more downforce on your car, the drag reduces and the speed tumbles, or mounts more, let's say. But Drunk X6, it's an improvement from him, but he's not able to leap up into the top 8. Oh, Leo Crichton lighting up the rear tyres off the exit of turn 2. That is a hair-raising moment, but his car, his Red Bull, still remains intact. Let's see, is Drunk X6 going for another push lap? If he was, he did seem a bit hesitant onto the entry of turn 3 through turn 4. I don't think this is going to be an improvement for him through the first sector. No, it isn't. So the Ferrari backs off. Now Dublin, who is currently on provisional pole, he's not going to be improving on this lap. And he's going to come into the pits as well. But while he may just trouble Dublin in front of, Dublin has just cemented his lead out in front. I'm not paying enough attention clearly on the top runners, but Dublin 3 and a bit tenths ahead of Weil with major disaster in third, having just slotted his Williams into third. But Weil, he's improving by 3 and a bit tenths through the first 2 sectors. Dublin looked like he was cementing his dominance out in front after his latest lap. But is Weil going to bring back the deficits, bring down the deficits, and put himself on provisional pole? Yes, he does by a tenth and a bit. The McLaren is now the man to beat. And that is a majestic lap. The Land of Fire is the stage to Weil's supremacy at the moment. And that was a fearsome, fiery lap. Now, is Leo Crichton going to be giving it another shot through turn 1? It seems like he's carrying a decent amount of speed in, and he's going to do the same through turn 2. So the Red Bull wants to avenge for the mistake he made last lap, but again gets a bit loose off of the exit of turn 2. And through turn 3. Looks like Leo Crichton is managing to get it through, but Jimaras in the Williams in front is not going to be helping the Red Bull's cause through turn 5 and 6. Oh, it's going to delay the throttle application for the Red Bull, and this lap is not going to come to anything. Right then, Cushy. He looks like he may be improving on this lap. We will have to see. No, he didn't through the middle sector. So he's going to peel off then into the pits. Logan in the Alpine. Maybe he might be able to improve on his lap. He sits in P13 at the moment. He will desperately want an improvement. Looks like he'll be getting a bit of a tow from the Red Bull in front. That is going to be very healthy for the Alpine. He opens DRS. He makes a dash for the line. 13th turns into, oh, it remains 13th there for Logan. And this has just not been his session so far. Oh, horse bends. The biggest problem we have seen so far in this session, and it's a problem that has struck horse bends through the exit of turn 15. He's now facing backwards. And with just moments to go, or a little bit to go in this qualifying session, he has gone for a venture that is going to prove troublesome. Leo Crichton looks like he may not be improving on this lap, but Dublin, he wants his name back on pole position. It's a two-way battle out in front. Dublin understeering through the exit of turn 4. But through the first sector, he's 5/1000ths shy of his personal benchmark time. But do not underestimate how much time you can gain through the slower corners. Now, is that a problem? Oh, it's a problem for KG then. know what has happened to him, but he has retired from the session, and fourth will be his best starting place. Dublin then through turn 15, carrying so much speed into turn 15. Now Leocritus manages to get out of the way. Dublin, oh, it's not an improvement through the first two sectors. At one point he looked so dominant out in front, but Weil has come back in a major way. Oh, it looked like the Alfa Romeo was going to wander off into the wall, but somehow manages to keep it pointing in the same direction. Major Disaster, though, sits in third place. What's he going to be doing on what may be his last attempt in qualifying? It will be his last attempt in qualifying. We have just over half a minute left. Whatever left the drivers have, they're going to have to give it their all. Throwing caution to the wind, and to hell with the walls. Major Disaster, who sits in third, will want to trouble the top two. Logan now has retired from the session. Oh, and he's found the exit he's found the wall through the exit of turn 4. And that is his qualifying ride done, and it's a qualifying ride of disappointment. At best, he will start from 13th. But Major Disaster through turn 7. He improved through the first sector. He lit up the rear tyres off the exit of turn 7. That is going to do him no good, and he's found the wall. He was riding by the limits, but through the castle section, he did go over it, and he has been punished severely. Connor now has got within 28 thousandths of Weil, but the McLaren is getting ever quicker. He's quickest of anyone through the first sector, and this man just knows no bounds. Cushy is on a lap as well, so too is Drunk X6, but that was a big moment there for Major Disaster, and it was a major disaster for him. But Weil has invalidated his lap time, so the 1:38.780 will not be improved by Weil. And I don't think it's going to be improved by either of the Mercedes. Cushy, though, through the first sector, didn't find the improvement he wanted. Drunk X6, though, is definitely on an improvement. Schrei is also looks like, yes, he's on a significant improvement there through the first two sectors. He sees his teammate on provisional pole. He wants to leap himself up the order, and that is what Drunk X6 has just done. He's now into the top 10. That's a promising lap there for him. Cushy, this is not going to be his lap. This is not going to be his session. Schrei in the McLaren. It's delirium on one side of the McLaren garage. But for Schrei, it's 15th. It may be a douse of dejection for him. He will start this race from P15, and it looks like nobody is going to better the time of Weil. He was supremely speedy in this session, and that has been solidified with a marvellous pole position. But Connor there in the last moments, giving him, wow, he ran him close, so very close. And if these are the margins that are going to dictate the winners from the second best, then this is going to be a race of biblical thrills and spills. Get ready for the race. It is going to be a thrilling ride. So then just 28 thousandths separated Weil and Connor at the end of the session. It is going to be one thrilling ride. 26 laps will be ahead of us, and there are 26 laps surely littered with carnage and chaos, but also breathtaking racing. and battles for the ages. Let me know in the chat on the Twitch stream who you think will come out as the winner in this race. Baku, we know, is indicative of unbelievable races and throwing, let's say, irregular results for certain drivers. But let's see, what do you guys think will happen in this race? Not meticulously, but who do you think will be the winner? It's easy to say Weil and Connor. They showed fantastic speed in the session, and they will want to translate that into the race. Now, I'm going to take a very, very quick break, but when I return, this race will very much be underway. Do not go anywhere. This is going to be a fantastic event. So then we are just moments away from this race, and as Crippy Walkie puts in the chat, Baku is such a dangerous track with exciting twists and turns. That will most certainly be realised in the next 26 laps. So then the drivers set off on their formation lap. Right, so let's have a look at these drivers' strategies, as we have two drivers that have been disqualified from the formation lap. So Kiduzi in the AlphaTauri and Godole Moose have not, let's say, upheld the traditional strategy which is being realised across the pack. Kiduzi's on the hards, Godole Moose on the mediums. Tay in the Alfa Romeo is on the mediums as well, whilst everyone else is on the softs. Now that is going to give the drivers on the softs the more promising start, well it should, getting that initial grip off the line, and particularly in the second phase, those tyres will be eaten into quicker. Maybe these soft compound runners are kind of praying for the nature of Azerbaijan, safety cars galore. That means they can extend their stints. But it's not just strategy, it's racing, it's battles, it's even you're in a cell for around this circuit. So many stories can be realised, particularly in these next 26 laps. And here in the land of fire, who can rise to the occasion? Now, while our pole sitter has certainly dropped down the pack, and for the likes of Tay in the Alfa Romeo, he's going to be on the grid longer, so that's not going to do his tyres the best. And we'll probably see him struggle off the line. Seems like Logan as well getting past the McLaren, while to be fair is near the rear of the pack. These drivers are now going to come onto the grid and start what should be a pulsating ride. On this Saturday evening, if you've come for Saturday entertainment, you're in the right place. ZRL are racing around Azerbaijan, and the X Division are about to throw up a treat. Weil will start from pole position in the 19 grid. We have 5 red lights on ahead of the drivers, and we are underway. It's a good start there from Wildwood. Looks like Connor may have just struggled off the line. Dublin possibly around the outside of turn 1. It's opportunistic, but it comes to no avail. The drivers making it side by side through the first corner. It looks like someone went wide there. It could have been Jim Rass and Godolo moves, but major disaster. Battles past Dublin. But Williams is up into third again. Horrid moment at the end of Q3. He is turning his fortunes around Dublin, coming back at the Williams into turn 3. No, he isn't able to do so, but the drivers looking quite single file into turn 3. It looks like the Haas have chonk around the outside of Horsebents and on towards turn 4. Looks like the Haas will preserve that 9th place. But look, Walkie going side by side with Cushy. They're hitting one another into the chicane. Who is going to emerge ahead? Looks like Cushy wants to show the Aston Martin the door as Leo Crichton lights up the rear tyres, but Tay out of nowhere. Could he make up 2 places in the blink of an eye? Cushy managed to keep him at arm's length there, but that there could have been a mesmerising move from the Alfa Romeo. Looks like Logan now getting past Jim Arras. Oh no! Godole Moose really misjudged Jim Arras in front, and he has lost part of his front wing. But a hectic start here in Azerbaijan. Did you expect any difference? It is Wild who has converted his pole position into a first lap lead. It looks like he's at ease out in front. Oh no! We have Chunk, we have Horsebents finding the wall and enduring trouble in their race runs. There are severely damaged front wings, and it's absolute carnage amongst the pack. We have debris littered absolutely everywhere, and these drivers are going to be out of sync with the top runners. Godole Moose with his damaged front wing is just going to come through the final 2 corners and take it rather cautiously. But we had multiple crashes through the final couple of corners, and we have many drivers paying a visit to the pits. Now is that Godole Moose? Yes, he's brought up the yellow flags. This has been a problematic start for the AlphaTauri. It's been an even more problematic start for Chonk, who was running in the top 10 until that venture through the one of the last few corners. But this is the battle for third, being contested between Major Disaster and Dublin. The Williams, having been quite aggressive but very successful at the start, managed to battle past the Alfa Romeo, but Dublin is coming back. Logan looks like he's closing in on it. Ryan Cushy gets past Leo Crichton. The Red Bull struggles with throttle application, really losing the rear wet end, but he runs wide. And Tay now progresses past him. And this has been the lap from hell for the Red Bull. Now DRS will be enabled on this 3rd tour of the race. Major Disaster in front, Major Disaster now behind. He finds the wall. He's going to have to make a pit stop. And a perceptible error there from the Williams is going to drop him down the order. As Wild in front ahead of Connor, then comes Dublin. But Dublin was handed a real lifeline there. Didn't have to battle past the Williams, but he's still up into 3rd place. But this Baku circuit is biting again. And for some of the drivers, it is proving a tough testing and taxing venture. Tay is running behind Cushy. Both drivers have made up 4 places in this race so far. Oh, Horsebents now. Horsebents in the in the Aston Martin has found the end of his race. Now, we don't have a safety car out. I'm not too sure where he's retired, but Horsebents becomes the first retiree from this race. Let's ride on board then with Jacob in the Mercedes. We now have yellow flags through the final sector. I think that's Godole Moose. But with DRS being enabled this lap, this will give Jacob a promising chance to get past. Oh, Logan now finds the wall. Logan is out of the race. The virtual safety car has been deployed. I have to find where he's found the wall, but his qualifying road came to an end in a dramatic way through the exit of turn 4. His race run has found its conclusion through the turn 13 and 14 section. While Connor now take the chance to pit. KG takes over the lead of the race. Jacob is up into second. What about the rest of the drivers? Cushy, Tay stay out on track. Walkie, Walkie will come past the pit lane. Major Disaster is quite a bit behind. He's already made his pit stop, so I don't really expect him to come into the pits. But we are back underway here in Baku. It looks like Tay is hounding down Cushy. This is the race towards turn 4. Cushy has the upper hand at the moment, but Tay around the outside into turn 4. That is opportunistic, but it isn't able to come to anything. But he's got a very handsome exit. He thought he had a chance on towards turn 4, but he's shoving the Ferrari around the corners. He puts down the power and possibly to the outside of turn 5. No, Cushy just about has him at arm's length. This virtual safety car restart has given Tay a real chance. He looks to the inside, possibly into turn 7. This battle was holding up the pair of them at the moment, but Cushy still able to keep ahead. Oh, and that's a lot of debris lost, and it could be for KG. No, maybe not, but there was an absolute stream of debris there through the castle section. Maybe it hasn't been cleared, but Godole Moose has now been lapped in this race. All Cushy through turn 15. Does that give Tay a chance on towards turn 16? No, the Alfa Romeo wants DRS, but Cushy may want to relinquish it himself. The DRS in the slipstream is so very powerful. This is a race of pure calculation. Tay, oh no, Cushy! Cushy's now found the wall, and they're falling like flies here in Baku. From the podium places, the inverse proportionality of drama and delight has now turned into drama, but despair as well. Cushy has broken his front wing and will have to pay a visit to the pits. Is Dublin on the inside of Connor. Dublin, he's currently in 4th, and he's displaced Connor. So Wild actually lost out significantly in the last few laps. He's now down into 6th. Connor is hounding down Dublin, and this is the battle. But the pack is going to be stacked up once more. So then KG is, well, surely going to be making a pit stop. So then KG takes the chance to pit. He goes from the softs, I think, to the mediums. So it looks like, oh, Connor and Dublin getting quite close there through the exit of turn 1. I think the Alfa Romeo went quite wide. Now Dublin takes back the lead of the race. There's obviously some safety car problems, some miscommunication problems as well. But they still are the top 2. But KG now on his fresh medium tyres is definitely in play here. I'm surprised Wild didn't pit though. Not that I'm a strategist and, well, definitely never will be, but Wild is going to be quite vulnerable to the likes of Tay, who's now pitted onto, he has pitted, hasn't he? Yes, onto the soft compound tyres. He is going to be a blur at the safety car restart. Wow, what a variety of strategy we have here. The safety car restarts, and the action, the plethora of action, is going to be endured once more. We started with 19 drivers in this race. We are now down to 16. The pack will be so close to one another. Expect fireworks at the safety car restart here on lap 7 of 26 of Division X here at ZRL. The strategy behind the safety car restart is certainly one for discussion. Now, it must be remembered that you obviously cannot overtake until the start-finish line, but if you're Dublin, you do not want to give Connor 1 ounce of initiative. If you go early, Connor is going to have the slipstream and a promising chance to take the lead of the race. But if you go late, he should have the Red Bull at arm's length into turn 1. It's going to be certainly a very interesting battle. A battle of racecraft strategy collides. Not in the way that a car collides with the wall, but works in unison with one another. It is going to be an absorbing safety car restart. So the big winners from the race so far, Tay started, oh my word, Dublin got very close to the safety car there. Tay, who started in 13th, has leapt up to 6th. Either Walkie has made up 6 places in this race. He started last, but of course is still outside the points paying positions. The big losers from this race, of course, the 3 retirements, Horsebent, Logan and Chonk. Others include Major Disaster, who of course crashed through the final couple of corners. And of course Wild, who started this race from pole and this pit stop phase, and ever since it's just not been kind to him. Now, I'm expecting the safety car to come in at the end of this lap, which means green flag racing is very much imminent. Pages on the younger tyres. Connor can take the fight to Dublin, but the Alfa Romeo crucially holds track position. Of course, DRS will not be in action until the 3rd lap of green flag racing, which will be lap 11. But I'm confident, I'm affirmative that the safety car is going to come in at the end of this lap. This might be a very late call there from the stewards. Surely it must be coming in. No, it's staying out. To hell with what the commentator thinks. So then, it means we're now on lap 9. We should be under green flag racing on lap 10, which means DRS will be in action on lap 12, but I don't want to say this lap after lap after lap. We want green flag racing, people. Now, Caduzzi comes into the pits. He did get very close there to good Ole Moose. The 2 AlphaTauris make contact. We will have to see. The AlphaTauri will stop onto his marks. No, he didn't make contact. So he's switching his strategy, which is quite an adroit move. He's at the back of the pack. He wants the youngest tyres possible, which can give him an advantage at the safety car restart, and can certainly bring him into play. But if you're running wide through the pit lane exits, you may put yourself out of play there, Caduzzi. Hasn't received any penalty of note. But then on cold tyres, he lit up the rear tyres, but managed to save it just about. He's going to join the back of the queue. Having said that, has Caduzzi been lapped? Yes, he has actually, so he's only really in the battle with his teammates. If you have been watching Formula 1 this weekend, you know all the action that Baku spills onto our screens is being replicated on this ZRL stage, and it's going to be action that is going to be imminent. The safety car will come into the pits at the end of this lap, and Dublin now becomes the de facto safety car. He chooses when to put the power down. He chooses when to get us back racing. But it is Connor's decision whether he can take the fight to Dublin. His reactions are going to be tested. His racecraft is going to be tested. But Dublin's nerve, crucially, will be tested the most. When does he choose to put down the power he already has? He goes very quickly before the start-finish line. And we're back racing here in Baku. Good start there from Dublin. He's going to keep the Red Bull at arm's length into turn 1. But Traversport side by side with Weil into turn 1. The McLaren manages to occupy that position still. Just to have action between Leo Kreitis and Itchry. The Red Bull manages to surge past into turn 1. And he is up then into 11th place. Always that problematic exit there for Cushy, because Major Disaster is breathing down his neck as he goes around the outside of turn 3. This is almost unheard of, but Cushy shows him the door. And now we have it Schreier going off the road. It's not been the ideal safety car restart for the McLaren. But although the battles out in front haven't been the most interesting, we're getting a mouthful towards the mid and rear pack. Cushy still ahead of the Williams' Major Disaster, who wants to revive his race, but almost tapped the Ferrari through turn 7, but now on towards the castle section. Looks like the drivers were able to get through unscathed. But now Drunk X6 has now been passed by Jacob, and it looks like he's going to get passed by his teammates. Oh, they get so close, the Ferraris. But Cushy just about has the initiative on towards turn 15. They're still going side by side. Cushy has to back out of it. Drunk X6 is still ahead as Walkie now gets past Leo Kreitis, the Rebel. Just not having the race that he would have wanted. But Tay now on the soft compound tyres wants to utilise the softs before they run out of tyre life. And the best performance it possesses, but Traversport's 5th place is under threat and has been usurped, has it, by Tay. They're going to go side by side into turn 1. The Alfa Romeo down the inside. Is he late enough on the brakes? The Mercedes is still very much in the battle, but it looks like the Alfa Romeo now has that position. Cushy has now at long last got past his teammates, but with the use of DRS, does Drunk X6 come back at his teammates? Oh no, of course DRS isn't enabled. With Slipstream though, is he able to trouble Cushy's 8th place? He looks to the outside and he gives Major Disaster a chance down the inside. They're going to run side by side into turn 4. Fantastic racing among the pack, but Major Disaster around the outside, showing the richness of his racecraft. Drunk X6 just did not have a response, whilst Major Disaster took every opportunity there was and seized it by the clench of his fist. Cushy is now the driver he wants to get past. It could be 2 Ferraris in a matter of moments for the Williams, but that was a sweet, sweet move. Oh, Cushy losing the rear a little bit through turn 50. Major Disaster around the outside. He's almost forced into the wall. Looks like Walkie may have had a problem through turn 50, but the Williams wants to pound down Cushy through the final couple of corners. He's now going to run in the dirty air. He's going to have to settle behind the Ferrari. But with this long straight, he has a chance. He has a promising, plausible chance to seize 8th place. DRS has now been enabled, but Disaster does not need it, because he, with the speed he has down the straight, is going to emerge ahead of Cushy into turn 1. The Ferrari wants to come back. It is a battle that, at this very moment, he is going to have to relinquish. Dublin still out in front. Looks like he's out of DRS threat of Connor. We have pit stops for Leo Kreitis and Walkie, as their little problems into the wall has required them to make an extra trip to the pits. But Jacob, Cushy is almost shoving him around the corners. This is the battle for 8th place. Jacob heads it Cushy wants to change his fortunes around. Unfortunately for Jacob, he goes out the session. That is why he's dropped down the leaderboard a little bit, but he's still in the top 10 in the Mercedes. But Cushy does not want to let him breathe for a second. Cade hasn't really been in action in this safety car restart, but has he chosen his time to pounce? DRS is enabled. He may just have that down the start-finish straight. Having said that, looks like he's dropped behind a little bit. No, he does have DRS, but he's not close enough really to make a move. Cushy, though, is close enough to Jacob to make a move. He's going to have DRS. As they raid on towards turn 1, this could be a change of position. You can see how effective DRS in the slipstream is, and Cushy has taken that opportunity and has demoted Jacob down into 9th. The Ferrari now on his weight. We have yellow flags out in sector 3. That's one of the AlphaTauris, it seems. Is Godole Moose, it seems, so he is down. Now he is now last of the runners. These battles out on track, far from over. Cage is closer to Connor. With the use of DRS, he's eaten into the deficit he had to Connor. Having said that, Connor isn't an awful long way away from Dublin. It could just be a three-way battle for the lead. We are approaching halfway distance in this race, and we have written many lines of drama so far in this race, but they were just the first few chapters. The meat behind this novel is yet to be written, but we wait for its glory and glistening and glitzy outcome. Connor not losing sight of Dublin. He's going to have DRS down the start-finish straight. The Red Bull started from second. He has the advantage on our pole sitter, but he is behind Dublin, and then he sets the fastest lap as well. He is asserting his presence in this race, is the Red Bull. Dublin's lead is severely under threat. And as Connor inches ever closer to the Alfa Romeo, a change of lead could be on the cards. Cushy is ahead of Jacob, but the Mercedes is not out of the battle. He's within half a second of Cushy on towards turn 3, but he isn't able to make a move as Draverspor now has become the latest driver to fall victim of Baku's mercy. And he drops down into 10th place. This is a riveting battle out in front. You cannot, well, I'm not going to I hope not to take my eyes off it, because it is living to every bit of the intrigue you would expect that Baku can throw up. It's living up to the expectations that ZRL has established in this X division. Wow, what a battle we have ahead of us. What a race we have to the end. We don't know what's going to happen, but 3 drivers are going to look to make this race their own. Connor will have DRS on Dublin, but KG is getting closer to the Red Bull. They both have DRS. That could be to the Red Bull's rescue on towards turn 1. It looks like he's going to be just enough ahead into turn 1 to still occupy that second place. But Connor wants to make his move soon. He has an opportunity with DRS, but he needs to get the exit through turn 60 on towards turn 17, 18, 19 and 20 to really pose a threat to Dublin's race lead. Looks like Draverspor may have had a problem through turn 1 perhaps. We still have yellow flags out in the first sector, and that's because Godole Moose has encountered yet another problem. This race just hasn't been his race. Cushy though, still only fractionally marginally ahead of Jacob. The battle for 7th place looked like Cushy would dictate it, but Jacob is not staying quit in this battle, and he's given the Ferrari something to think about. Oh, Connor's close. Connor's closer than he's been so far in this battle. On towards turn 15. He's going to have DRS. He's going to need to execute that opportunity. Dublin has been untroubled since the safety car restarts, but it looks like Connor is going to give him a trouble or two through the final few corners. Yes, he's going to have DRS. He has a healthy enough exit, and Dublin really is under threat. They're building up such terrific speeds down the start-finish straight. Which way is Connor going to go? He's going to look to the outside, but he puts the power down early off the exit of turn 1, but Dublin manages to hold on to the position on exit. This battle for the lead is intensifying lap after lap, and metre after metre we feel like Connor's presence in this race is getting ever larger, and it looks like he's going to have the legs on Dublin. On towards turn 3, Connor has the lead. It's proven a task of struggle in the past few laps, but at long last, Connor leads the race. Now Major Disaster has a problem through turn 2. He sees a flurry of drivers getting past him. Cushy still only just ahead of Jacob. This battle is certainly far from over. And this here on your screens is the battle for 13th place. Walkies ahead of its Try. The McLaren with DRS open will look to turn 14th into 13th. With the aid of DRS, he has just that, but the Aston Martin wants to come back at him. Isn't able to do that, so the McLaren asserts his name in 13th place. Connor has not broken away from the DRS threat of Dublin. Down the start-finish straight, could Dublin return the compliment to Connor? Look at the speed he has down the straight. Surely he has a chance into turn 1. No, he backs out of it at the last moment and doesn't get the best of runs through turn 1. Jacob now is wanting to get past Cushy. This is a battle that Cushy really hasn't grabbed by the scruff of the neck. Jacob around the outside into turn 1. Cushy is later on the brakes and is going to park it on the exit. Jacob is going to be a little bit exasperated there. He looks to the inside, he looks to the outside, but still Cushy remains in front. Jacob wants to ease his problems, and with DRS down this straight, those problems have been eased. He powers past the Ferrari. 5th place is his. Cushy looked like he had the speed momentarily in this battle, but Jacob has had that Ferrari rear wing in his sights. Has got back ahead of him. Oh no, Connor! Dumbfounding. Utterly dumbfounding. As the safety car is deployed, we have just learned of Baku's brutal nature. Connor could have been on for the win. But in a split second, in a moment of misfortune, it has all gone so wrong for the Red Bull. The castle section has claimed another victim in history, and it has claimed Connor in the cruelest of ways. We're on lap 17 of 26. The safety car is out, and it looks like the battle for the win is going to be contested between Dublin and KG. Who's going to come into the pits out of these two? It's going to be the pair of them. It's going to be a late switch to softs, and for a sprint to the end, while he's going to come into the pits as well. Jacob looks like, we'll see, he's on the hard compound tyres at the moment. Okay then, so Dublin has put into the medium compound tyres. That is a surprise. Does he not have any soft compound tyres left, or does he think that he can get to the end, or he could not get to the end on the soft compound tyres? Either way, that is going to leave him vulnerable to KG. Wow, just wow. Connor drove such a mature, meticulous race. But in the last few moments, his race has been undone in the cruelest of ways. So then, it seems like the last safety car saw the safety car out longer than I expected. With a longer safety car, that surely plays into the hands. If we think that the softs aren't going to last as long as Dublin thinks, that surely gives KG a chance. But Dublin critically holds that track position, and it means there'll be less laps to get past KG. This is a fascinating battle. It really is a fascinating battle. We're on lap 18. The safety car obviously won't come. Well, I would be very surprised if it came into at the end of this lap. But let's say as an example, this comes in at the end of lap 19. Lap 20 will be green flag racing. Lap 22, third lap of racing, of green flag racing, we'll see the introduction of DRS. So lap 22, that gives 5 laps of DRS. I honestly think that KG's played the strategy card to absolute perfection. It looks like, unless Dublin didn't have any soft tyres left, KG has the most promising of chances to make this race his own. While he's obviously on the soft tyres as well, but Kiduzzi's a lapped car and doesn't look like he's going to be unlapped. Now Dublin has left the session, so it seems like he's lost some internet connection there. But let's just quickly have a look at the drivers on these tyres. So Dublin on the mediums, KG, Weil on the softs, Tay on the mediums, Jacob on the softs, Cushy on the mediums, Drabersport on the softs. Then we have Drunk X Sigs, Major Disaster and Leo Kritis on the mediums. Jim Rass is on the hards. That is going to be a struggle for him. It Shry is on the mediums. Walkie is on the softs. So I would have thought there'd be a formation of soft compound runners. Obviously some drivers pitted just before the safety car. Now it's going to be interesting because of course there are limited tyres that the drivers have. So that may be why Dublin did not pit the softs. We'll have to see. Well, we have just the last few moments in this race left to decide the winner, to decide the outcome of what has been a spectacular race. Everything indicative, everything synonymous with Baku has been realised once more on this ZRL stage. And it is a stage which Dublin has made about him at this moment. He has orchestrated a race of grand maturity. He has kept it on the island, and after starting from third, he still leads the race. We're on lap 20 of 26, still under yellow flag run. We're still under yellow flags, still under the safety car. So lap 20 of 26, we have 7 laps left There shouldn't really be many more laps onto the safety car. I'd expect this or the next lap to be the last. We'll have to see when the Mercedes AMG safety car peels off into the pits. Oh, Dublin there has given himself a massive scare. Looks like he just touched the wall but has escaped damage. So then the safety car will come into the pits at the end of this lap. That will leave for 6 laps to the end. A 6-lap sprint to determine the winner from this race. Can Dublin exercise every inch of potential that his medium tyre compound has? Or is KG going to utilise his softer tyres to absolute effect? Dublin weaving this way, that way to gain temperature into the tyres. When does he choose to put the accelerator down? I think he's chosen his moments. Weil has a 5-second time penalty for a collision at the end of this safety car period, but Tay and Weil going side by side. McLaren just about stays ahead of the Alfa Romeo into turn 1, but the Alfa Romeo coming back perhaps. Looks like he was going for a lunge, but Jacob now all over the rear of Tay on towards turn 2. Looks to the outside of turn 2, isn't able to make the move, but off the exit. That is a handsome one from the Mercedes. He's hounding down the Alfa Romeo. He's going to hunt for the inside line. Is he able to seize it? No, he isn't. Tay just about holding 4th place at the moment. Major disaster from Cushy going side by side. Cushy still has the upper hand in the battle. Through turns 5 and 6, Cushy still ahead. We have yellow flags out in sector 1. Again, an Alfa Tauri encountering a problem. But Dublin is really under pressure from KG. Oh no, major disaster. Wow, he's dropped out of the points. He's possibly grabbed the brake into turn 7 and has just thrown himself out of contention for points. That's a real shame for the Williams. Yes, he's still in 11th, but he's going to be preying on someone else's error to register some kind of points in this race. That's a real shame there for the Williams, who started the race promisingly, but he has unravelled in a way which is not going to please him whatsoever. Dublin still ahead of KG. DRS not in action on lap 21, will not be in action on lap 22, but should be on lap 23. Or Jacob is closing in on Tay. He's going to utilise the slipstream effect down the start-finish straight. He'll look to the inside. Is he able to get ahead of the Alfa Romeo? They're going to go side by side. Tay is forced out of the move. And Jacob has just flown himself up into the top 4. Godole, Moose and Kaduzzi swapping positions as the latter comes into the pits. Dublin still just about holds the lead of the race. He hasn't been put under pressure from KG so far. This could be a masterstroke on strategy from Dublin. Cushy's mediums and Drabaspor's softs. This is a battle not only of strategy but racecraft. Who can utilise their tyres the best and most promisingly to execute the most promising outcome of this battle. Leo Crichton is in the rear wing marriers of Dravaspor. So that's a three-way battle for ninth, and if you factor in its right, that's a four-way battle for seventh, sorry. But KG just isn't close enough at the moment. DRS will be enabled on the next lap. It doesn't seem to be troubling the Alfa Romeo at the moment. It is so measured from Dublin out in front. And he could reap the richest of rewards come the end of lap 26. This is a battle between Cushy and Dravaspor. On towards turn 1, the Ferrari defending into the inside. Dravaspor then looks to the outside. He isn't able to make the move. Cushy, though, goes in a little bit deep. This brings the Mercedes back into play. He's going to seize the inside line into turn 2. He isn't going to have the position, though. A little bit reluctant there from Dravaspor, which is going to give Leo Crichton an opportunity to get up into 8th. Cushy's using the DRS he has from his teammate to keep the Mercedes at bay. We now have yellow flags as Walkie has found the wall off the exit of turn 2. And we have just 3.5 laps left of this race. So then, Cushy still ahead of Dravaspor, who's still ahead of Leo Crichton. Major disaster currently in 10th, so he is back up into the points. If this race could have yielded so much more for the Williams, he may just leave a little bit frustrated. So then, KG, he has Dublin in sight. The race win is almost tangible to the Haas, but with the aid of DRS, with the aid of Slipstream, this could turn into the race lead for KG down the inside into turn 1. He asserts his presence on the brakes and his name into the race lead, but Dublin's fighting back. Terrific battle between these two. Dublin struggling off the exit of turn 2, perhaps no, KG isn't initially able to get past him, but he's going to look for the inside line into turn 3. What a battle between these two with just 3 laps left. KG emerges ahead as Dublin then gives him a tap. The battle has been fought and it looks like it's been won by KG. The long, laboured task of racecraft for KG in this race has now been overcome, and it has been overcome in the sweetest of ways. He leads the race with just laps to go. Weil is going to want to give Dublin a problem, but this could still be a 3-way battle for the win as Weil then taps the wall. The McLaren started this race from pole. It hasn't translated into the most promising of races so far. He still runs in 3rd, but after starting from pole, he may leave a little disappointed himself. Okay, though, KG has not escaped from the mercy of DRS of Dublin. The Alfa Romeo will have it down the start-finish straight. He will want his name back into the race lead. A thrilling finale is being endured here in Azerbaijan. KG stole the race lead on this lap, but as we approach lap 25, Dublin looks to return the compliments. He rages past the Haas on towards turn 1, and the lead is once more his. Dravaspor, we thought about to move to the inside. It wasn't able to work, but KG still is hounding down Dublin. On towards turn 3, the Haas looks to the inside. Is he at long last going to be able to cement his name in the lead of the race? He is. As long as he keeps Dublin at bay and maybe enlarges his lead to the point where Dublin does not get DRS on this next lap, KG may be looking at a nice little ride home to the finish. But Dublin is not going to let go. It's been a race where all three drivers have pushed each other to the limit. The limit has been crossed by drivers like Connor, Chonk, Logan and Horsfence, whose races have not ended in the way they would have wanted. But for us as spectators, the grandest of race finales is unfolding before our eyes. It's a three-way battle for the lead of the race. It's a battle for the lead which has prolonged since lap 1. Wilde does have a time penalty, so he's really out of race win contention. But the battle for the win between KG and Dublin intensifies. It rages on to the final lap. The Alfa Romeo has DRS. KG is not going to the fence at the inside. Dublin says, thank you very much. The lead is again his. But it's going to be a battle of DRS on towards turn 3. KG will have it, but will he have that critical track position? He has the sweetest of exits, and could it be the sweetest of race outcomes as once more he progresses past Dublin? They're switching positions lap after lap after lap towards the end of this race. KG holds the lead from Dublin. Wilde looks like he's going to have to settle for 3rd place. A battle that has been so rich in its utter rivetance, if that's a word. Well, let's say it's been riveting, but there may be one last tale to tell. Dublin should have DRS towards the finish line. Is it going to be a drag race to the line or the race win? Jacobs now had a problem through the castle section. He drops behind Tay. He's now under the heel. Oh, Travis Sport is now going to look to get a place ahead of his teammates. But we have just a few corners left. This battle is going to spill onto the last few metres of this race. Azerbaijan always throws excitement, it always throws drama, but this could be the most daring of dramas towards the finish. It's going to be a dash to the line. Who is going to emerge as the race victor? Dublin is closing in. He wants DRS. KG almost shows in the door, but Dublin's going to cross the line to take the race win. The most blistering, the most pulsating of finishes. So I was going to say it would have gone to Dublin, but KG actually has a time penalty. And as Dublin actually has a time penalty, so KG is going to win the race. Oh, it must have been an unserved penalty. But that, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That last moment came to nothing there for Dublin. I'm going to try and find out why, but KG then. So he relinquished the actual race leads up towards the line, but he still takes the race win. Let's have a look. He exceeded lap and track limits. Oh, wow. That is the most dejecting of penalties. So then, track limits, the most cruel of ways for Dublin to miss out on the race win. And it sees KG just about come out on top. What a race, what a fantastic race that was. KG winning the race from 5th place in the end. And what a race it was from him. He takes the honours around Azerbaijan. So then, just comprehend what we have just seen in the last 26 laps. Baku just never disappoints. And it is most certainly not disappointed for Division X. So then, just looking through the Discord chat, there's just a little bit of confusion as to what the penalty was, and whether it was a glitch or not, it being registered as track limits. But KG has won the race. He's fended off Dublin, according to what records currently suggest. So he wins from Dublin, and while in third. So then, that was Baku, and what a glorious ride that was. So then, thank you all so very much for your company. Just still looking through the Discord chat. It's, yeah, very frustrating there for Dublin, but it is not taken away from what has been a fantastic race. So then, I am going to leave now, but if you do want to relive the race, hopefully this will be on YouTube. I think I've changed the Twitch settings, so I will, hopefully be out on YouTube, on the ZRL YouTube channel. But just comprehend, just digest what that race was, and realise that ZRL is a race of utter magnificence. It is being realised here at Azerbaijan this weekend, and it will be realised time and time again. Thank you all so very much for your company. Hope we have lived up to your expectations, and join us once more when ZRL returns.